Hello and welcome back to the marketplace for what's going to be our third instalment of Purple Revisited, our tanky Warlock life. As promised, we're back here at level 12 to see how the build is shaping up, and please don't tell me I'm going to get knocked over by this dragon again. Thankfully we avoided it. Yes, level 12 because it's all change again build wise. Now I contemplated going tier 5 in Soul Eater, which would have made for probably a faster leveling experience with the excellent wave AoE. We could have led with tentacles and just smashed the wave into there. For those of you who didn't know, it's like a cone that comes out in front of you. The equivalent, I think it says there, of 3 Eldritch Blasts, which goes with 150% spell power, and you can put all your metas on that. And the best thing about it all is it's free, no mana cost. So, and it's on quite a short cooldown as well, 8 seconds. So that would certainly have been an option. But being as one of the big themes of this one is to show that you can totally level as the, in the tanky build, which is the Enlightened Spirit one, albeit a bit adjusted because I've taken some light and universal spell power in here, which for the end build I would swap those out for these PRR and MRR instead. So let's have a little look what we have actually picked up in this spirit tree. The Tainted Skull has broadly speaking stayed the same. We've got 3 pack dice, we've got the Utter Dark Blast, which means we are still using light spell power for our base blast damage. And we've got the 3 cores, the second of which is giving us the web spell, and the third is giving us this excellent stanch source of temp hit points. Speaking of temp hit points, this tree is built all around them really. It's a constitution tree, not a charisma tree. The important abilities in here scale with con. The first one of those would be that one there, brilliance. So the aura provides us and anybody who happens to be nearby temp hit points equal to our con score. So, and that's doubled in epic. So at the moment it's giving us, can we see that? No, because we're not in a quest, but at the moment that is giving us 40. I think in Reaper that's 42, is it? Let's have a look where we're at with the Reaper trees. So yes, we'll get 42 every time that ticks. That's a 42 cushion in temporary hit points, but it gets better. This one here on a 30-second cooldown, and for the sake of, what is it, 8 mana, we get 8 times con score. So what's it? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 30. So it's over, nicely over 300, isn't it? 320 plus temp hit points, and they'll just sit there until they come to be needed for 10 minutes. So that's really good to have. So if you were wondering, well, how do I heal as a warlock? The answer to that is, if you go Enlightened Spirit, especially from level 12, you don't really need to, unless you're really pushing the level. The tipping point comes when the incoming damage starts outstripping your ability to throw the temp hit points out. But if you're doing Reaper 1, I would suggest that that's not going to happen very often. The only cases where you might run into a bit of trouble is the same for any build. The nasty damages over time that the crown champion opponents can give on occasion, and that will cause problems. But other than that, and I mean for situations like that, you do have the stanch, 50% of max hit points in temp hit points. So for us, that's over 200 as another little buffer that we can get in times of distress. So not bad at all. What have we done in between last time and this? I have done the first part of Ravenloft, no real problems there. And in fact, given that it's an undead heavy area, I ran into comparatively few problems with opponent immunities. And as I've said before, even if you are up against skeleton types who are immune to the cold pact, they're still taking the damage from the light, the base pack damage. So it's not a complete disaster, it's just a bit longer to chip them down. Speaking of Ravenloft, I'm happy to say I found a use for our gust of wind. You run into at least one case where you have to face up against two iron golems, don't you, that drop those toxic cloud things. And this is just perfect for blowing those things away. So happy days. Because if you do sit there and engage them inside one of those clouds, it quickly turns sour, doesn't it? Especially on Legendary, when you very quickly find yourself subject to ability damage and other nasty effects. So maybe that's not as useless as I had thought. Speaking of spells that we've gained through our pact, we've got the first really useful one there, the Creeping Cold. So we know all about that from our time with Fools as a caster druid. So that one I will keep. I have it fully meted, which means it's going to cost the earth to cast. Look, base costs 6 and it's costing us 54. So I'll only ever cast that on an end boss or perhaps a Reaper. But that's it. Nothing else for the moment. Let's go back to our tree. Otherwise, apart from Ravenloft, I did a bit in the sands. That went fine too. And we're here in the marketplace now to try and demonstrate that even though we've changed the build significantly, we can still be, well, now hugely survivable and still very effective against big groups of opponents. That's what I'm hoping to demonstrate. I have, although we've gone with the tanky tree, I've stuck with a degree of, I mean, we've still got all the spell power gear on. There's no change there. And in here, as mentioned, I've pushed spell power at the expense of PRR and MRR, just for the purposes of leveling. So that's where we're at with that. We've got two bursts, Eldritch Burst and Spirit Blast. These are centered on us. They're down here on the bar. They're fully meterable. So in the middle of a pack of opponents is where you really want to be triggering those for best effect. And the cookie cutter strategy is just to throw down your Evard's tentacles, go in the middle of the mob and finish them off with these two. Or if you're being a bit tight with mana, because Evard's does eat up the mana quite a bit, just do these two and most of the stuff should disappear. At least that's been my experience so far on the low Reapers. Cause in this, now just be a bit careful when you go in this tree, because there are, can I get rid of that? There are 3 toggles that switch off always on logout. One of them is your little imbue that you get, your light imbue, which synergizes well with the rest of the stuff that we're doing at the moment, because we've already got light spell power. The next one is the aura itself. That also switches off on a logout. And then this aura of courage. So for some reason it doesn't like the auras and switches these all off when you... so just bear in mind you'll have to toggle them on. I've left them all there together to sort of remind myself that that's the line that needs to be switched back on when we log in. Just wanted to show you quickly these nice footprints from the latest Year of the Dragon. Can you see them there? No, I think maybe we have to be in a quest to see them. Is that right? Or maybe they don't work with the aura. Let's test that. Is it not showing up at all? Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's because the background's a bit light. There we go. Does it not work with the aura switched on? No, it does. It's just because the background was light, I think. I really like these. You can see they're like a flaming thing as they sort of dissolve. Very similar to the rewards that you could get from doing the hardcore. And as I am never likely to participate in that event, it was particularly nice for me to be able to get them. So happy days. What else have I? Oh yeah, I'm glad in a sense that we're only doing like little snapshots of things this now because it's avoiding you seeing my biggest gaffes during the leveling process. For example, sending a web down against spiders. It's just a facepalm moment. Isle of Dread as well we've done in between times, and there as well very few cold immunes, just again the odd skeleton. Surprisingly, water elementals are taking full damage from the cold pact. I'm not going to complain, but it does seem a little strange. And as a warlock we were very strong versus beholders because their anti-magic thing, being as what we were doing was a lot based on spell-like abilities and not actual spells, we could still continue to cast whatever we were doing against them. So they were melting in reasonable time, which was good for us. The aura, talking of the aura, still continues to pulse even when we are knocked down in a quest. So we're still continuing to get that temporary hit point defense, and also this aura harms the opponents that it's hitting. So it's quite conceivable we could be knocked down and still killing things and keeping ourselves alive. In fact, I have had situations, knocked down or otherwise, where the game's lagged me out and I've returned just in time to see a crowd of dead opponents and the Warlock still standing there in the middle. So it would be a decent candidate, this, for a hardcore build, I would think. If I could have done, I would have quite liked. Oh, let's mention what we've got on the gear and where we're at with the spell powers. So the main ones are still with cold and light. That's the blasting. So we're on around 250, 300 for both, and 25% plus crit. So not bad. The other one we would like to have higher is the force, which is the tentacles side of things. And I would like to have something for force, spell power, and crit. Now I considered swapping out this Barovian scepter. In fact, I would have done if we'd had the impulse one from the level 12 Lord's March chain, but I don't actually have it handy. So I'm just putting this in instead for a bit of a boost to all the spell powers instead. Otherwise, we've swapped in the 3-piece Ravenloft caster set. Belt is nice for us because it's taking care of the cold spell power and crit. We've got the Golden Greave damage resistance boots, very nice. Broadly speaking, things are very similar to how they were. We were on level 8, weren't we? So all that's the same. I've swapped I don't think we had this cloak in. I should have done at 7 because it's a very good one for our build. 3 on the spell focus side for the DCs and 5 charisma. Not bad at all. That's from Dread. And the glasses are Canith crafted for conjuration focus for the tentacles, but also helping web. So you can see there 37 save outside of Reaper. Now that's not too bad, especially considering con is our main stat, not charisma. So not bad at all, that, I don't think. Aside from that, I think the gear is pretty much as it was at 8. Just added that 3-piece, and because we are still in robes here, we can still make use of the Reveler's Regalia from the Night Revels event for a bit more crit chance against a boss if I can remember to use the thing. I think that's about it for the gear. So yes, again, I've picked a quest that should hopefully allow us to prove or disprove that we are A, decently survivable, even without an actual heal. The actual heal, top-up heals, will be from still from these potions of Cure Serious. I mean, you could totally put a hireling in behind you. It's just not my thing when I can avoid it. And we are so strong now with the temp hit points that I think I would have to make a bad mistake to need to do that. We have acquired, just for leveling, this nice resist energies thing from the Enlightened Spirit tree as well. It's quite pricey in terms of spell points, but it's just like one cast and then you've got all your elemental resistances catered for. So not bad. We can see there we're in a good place now, in the 40s on everything. So well worth spending a point in there just for that. I'll remove it when we get to where we're going and we have other. In fact, at the cap, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but we have an item that does significantly better than that, so that's great. Just got to put the Death Ward on. And let's get the show on the road. So spells, I missed the spells, didn't I? Let's... So two notable ones, apart from the Creeping Cold, which I already mentioned. We've picked up Displacement for a really nice extra layer of defense, although it's on quite a short cooldown, so it's a bit of a spell point sponge at the moment. I mean, quite a short duration, isn't it? It says there 6 seconds, but it's 6 seconds per caster level, isn't it? I think it lasts about a minute. And of course the tentacles themselves, they came at level 10. Doesn't tell me what the save is there, but it's going to be a couple of things higher than the web, so I would guess a 42. So not terrible for the level that we're at. So the web as well, because the tentacle's on a long cooldown. The web is just a nice filler in for the time when the tentacle is on cooldown. It's a lot cheaper as well in terms of spell points if we have just a couple of targets to get rid of. No crowd control for Reapers. The best crowd control I have is the tentacles, which has a no save slow. You can see there at the top. This is sadly not strong enough now. The colour spray, at least in my experience so far, it's not been strong enough to reliably do anything anymore. I will continue to try with it before swapping it out, but I'm not overly optimistic on that.
Clearing, only to spot a figure beckoning. Footsteps can be heard from further down the path.
So leading with the tentacles, going straight in with the two blasts from the middle of the pack, and there we go, happy days. So of course tentacle now is on cooldown, so I'm using web instead. I'm hitting the temp hit points because I've seen the Reaper in there. So you can see there straight away, that was the shining through, 400 temp hit points there.
The door
So that's great.
an extensive system of stone caverns.
And as mentioned, those are going to last for 10 minutes or until the enemies take them off us, so that's great. I use the shining through wherever possible rather than the stanch, because the stanch, as discussed previously, has a stacking debuff to your max hit point level. So I will use that as an oh shit moment. So just alternating between web and tentacle for my CC, and in the case of tentacle, serious damage as well. I haven't, I've only quickened the both of them. I haven't maximized or anything the tentacles. Too much mana cost at the moment, that.
The door opens, revealing a lush waterfall. Twisting paths lead deep into the dense jungle.
Happy days. I'm pretty sure neither web nor tentacle makes the opponents helpless, so we don't get bonus damage, but we do get a very significant bonus that they're not hammering away at us while they're being tied up. It doesn't look like many of them are saving, does it? Up to now, so that's nice too. I think there is a shrine when we go back round the corner, so let's make use of our mana pool.
Several giants have set up camp in a secluded spot. You spy some kind of lever amongst the tents.
So as mentioned, not swinging a weapon at all. In the intervals between the two blasts, I could be doing something like swinging the weapon, but these blasts are quite good for breakables as well. I could be doing something, but I'm not wanting to break the weapon, the scepter that we're using, the caster stick, and also as we get into epic, there's going to be other things as well as these blasts that we're going to be doing, so I just don't plan to swing the weapon at all. I think typically the tankier Warlock, or any tank for that matter, the weapon swinging would be largely for debuffing the opponent that you're hitting. I think there is a weapon called, is it Labyrinth Edge, from one of the raids that people like for doing that job. Come on. So you can see there, I'm not doing anything here, and the ticking aura just killed that one. You can see also the reason I mentioned it can kill like 10 or 20 as quick as it can kill one. Against a single opponent, he looks fairly slow and ponderous, doesn't he? But when you just throw him in the middle of like 20 of them, and they can all die in that time, it's still fairly efficient and also very safe. Look, you can see we still have 270 of the original 400 hit points left from that shining through. So they're really not getting through our defences that much, are they? And mana-wise, we've made it to the shrine with a handy amount to spare, I think. Tell you what we'll do, we'll just get rid of that lot first. Lovely stuff. So I don't know about you folks, but I think we could say he's barely broken a sweat there, and done it at a reasonable pace. Admittedly, he has a higher armor class than the standard would be from his martial past lives, but that aside, I think we can see that. And the temp hit points have persisted through resting. That's interesting, because not a lot does it? Now, one reason you might choose to forego a rest with this kind of build is if you're making extensive use of stanch, maybe in tougher content, because as you can see there, it's deleted all my stacks of depravity. I need 7 to be able to activate that stanch. So if the ability to have that on hand is a problem to you, then perhaps consider carefully before resting.
With the magical barrier dispelled,
in this case,
you can now explore
I'm thinking
deeper
we're
into
doing
caverns.
rather well with just the shining through. I don't see us needing to use the stanch unless something truly horrible happens. So if you're going along at a reasonable pace, I think you could expect to have tentacles ready for use for every other pack perhaps, and then just use the web in the for the intervening ones. Now let's go and give our cold damage over time a go. Let's just test it. I won't do anything else against it. That's the creeping cold fully meted. not terrible, is it? But I think we're going to need some help. Bearing in mind it's backloaded, Creeping Cold, the bigger damage occurs in the final ticks. So those little piddly things you saw at the start are not really a fair reflection of the overall damage potential it has. Rough translation, I should have waited before steaming in with other stuff. Is that 2 Reapers in there? Ooh. Okay. Well, between the tentacles and the 2 blasts, we dealt with them rather well.
An enormous cavern opens before
Right, we're
you.
going to want some feather
A
falling in
raised
here, aren't we?
platform
And
can be
maybe
seen on the
jump as
far
well.
side.
So jump with a potion now. We've got 10 points invested and we're close to the skill cap on that, so that's pretty good.
You pull the lever, and a distant platform
I
suddenly
can't remember a
begins
single
moving.
time I've been in here where I haven't ballsed up at least one of the jumps, so I'm fully expecting that to happen. And if that is to be my fate, I rest a bit easier, knowing that I think I've already illustrated the 2 main points I wanted to show: the survivability and the semi-reasonable damage potential compared to. Oh god, yeah, that's the cock-up we were waiting for. I could have disabled those things with the little lever thing here. For some reason I chose not to. Again here I think we can disable that first. That's a bit fiddly. There we go. Yeah, these platforms, oh, it'd help if I actually pulled the thing, wouldn't it? Try to do things with them while they're stationary. Don't jump on them while they're moving, because you're just tempting fate then, and it'll do some kind of a jittery thing and land you in the water. That's just my 2 cents worth from bitter experience. I'm going to use our Chaos Mancer past life wings just to ensure that we land in the right place, but we didn't. Wasn't really necessary.
A sudden blast of moist air.
Could probably just leave that to tick on its own and it would kill them all, more or less. Yeah, and that's with no maximize, that's just the tentacles. But they have to fail the save, so unfortunately when we get to the cap there's going to be little or nothing failing the save, so the damage is going to be much reduced. Trying to use the opponents as a shield from the Reaper for as long as I could. Been quite lucky with the souls to keep us going. Tentacles, as mentioned, is thirsty, especially if you chose to maximize it, which I don't think I could. I don't think it's warranted actually at this low level.
Outlines of small dwellings in the distance, but a magic barrier blocks exploration in that direction.
As you've just seen, it's doing plenty enough without being meted. As you can see as well, the little aura, it does some. It's good for finishing off there, but it's far from amazing. But considering it's just ticking away, you know, while you're sitting doing other things, it'll there'll be more other things to do at the cap. I might as well mention what I'm considering on that score. I really wasn't sure what to do, because a lot of the epic strikes for casters are distinctly underwhelming and or require some kind of DC to land properly. So I was thinking in the end of trying for the draconic, because we have to be in there anyway to be able to cast while raging. I was thinking we could try for the energy vortex in there, which is going to be, as far as I know, like an AoE which will match our aura perfectly, and it does ticks just like the aura does. So yes, it's only ever going to be half damage, but I think you get 5 or 6 ticks, so that's something to keep attention on him and just to keep chipping away at the opponents. And also somewhere in that draconic tree there is an option to make your epic strike, to give it the possibility, I think 1 in 4 chances to paralyze something with fear with no save. And as we're all about no save on this life, I look forward to testing that, especially as it's not one shot, it's that vortex thing goes out in ticks. So I would think we could get, you know, in a situation like this, surrounded by 5 or 6, and at the cap they won't be melting like this or anything even close to it. I think we could get some joy out of that. So anything that's crowd controlled is not hammering away at us and is maybe taking extra damage from our party colleagues. Now the 10 hit points are looking a little bit on the low side here. So Tentacles is on cooldown, we're going in with the web. Mistargeted it and let half of them out, which is not good. Still loving the shattering cold effect from the cold pact.
The lever is pulled, and energy begins to flow towards the central chamber.
So yeah, if you're after out and out speed for leveling, oh, that's where the 10 hit points comes in handy as well. Let's put some more on, so we've got another almost 400 shield, just in case we land on something else. So yes, if you're after out and out speed, probably not the build, but I'm after showing that you can totally level this thing very nicely without you know, struggling and having to swap things around like you might a traditional tank. And hopefully when we get to where we're going, I can show it to be quite survivable too. So you'd see it just absorb the trap damage just nice there. Still another 250. This is the one where the door opens and the opponents appear behind us, isn't it? We have something for you people. I mean, at this stage at 12, if you were going in a group and you had some decent damage dealers or a decent damage dealer with you, you could totally at this point ramp up the difficulty if you fancied it. This thing is more than capable of surviving it, and of course the opponents would not survive for very long with you taking all the attention and your damage dealing people cleaning up behind you.
Into the central chamber.
Let's just have an eye on these traps. See again, 110 damage, no problem, absorbed by the shining through, and it's ready again should we need it.
An unnatural cold radiates throughout this room, which is dominated by a glowing magic device. 2 gems adorn the control.
We've done all right with the souls here. Just Gonna let the aura tick this one down. There we go.
The gate to the west slides
Happy
open,
days.
clearing the way into Dunalenthia's chamber.
I think I did actually skip one of the shrines, didn't I? And we're still doing okay for the mana. It's another illustration of an earlier point I made about a lot of the damage coming from spell-like abilities. Well, these two blasts are is just being carried on the back of these, isn't he? And the tentacles. In fact, if all you had, I think we've shown that too, if all you had was those 2 plus tentacles, you could do admirably in the quest. Admirably. Let's try and remember to trigger our little Reveler's Regalia for the final fight.
Dunalenthia stands stiffly on the platform above. Her unnatural movements tell you that she's being magically compelled by the cultists surrounding
So just
her.
for the sake of info, let's see how much we can actually get here in 10 hit points. With the Shining Through, it's 400, and then Stanch gives us another 315 on top of that. Look at that. I think that's because the Stanch was counting the... Oh, God. Stanch was counting the 10 hit points we already had from the Shining Through. And that was an illustration of the other point I made about jumping on the moving platform. It's a no-no. So focus fire the girl here, ignoring the dragon, although I'll be hitting the dragon anyway given the nature of my blasts here. Put the creeping cold on. Happy days.
Releasing Dunalenthia from her magical compulsion.
And we still had 600 and odd 10 hit points left. So yeah, very nice. Oh, there's no exit there, is there? No. Okay, so I'm going to consider that mission accomplished. I think if we don't have it, do we? What do you need for Tempest Spine? It's intelligence and strength. We have the intelligence, we don't have the strength. We'd need another 3 strength. I could perhaps use a potion or something like that. Could have a go at Tempest Spine and just let you know how we've gone on. I'm not going to do it on the recording. I think that's enough to show you where we're at. We'll reconvene at say 17 and just see how things are going. But I hope and believe there won't be too much change from what we've just seen there, and that it'll be a smooth progression. That's my hope. Okay, thank you very much as always for looking, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.